Good morning, everyone. This is Data Pioneer Southeast coming to you from the Windows 10 Tech News and Reviews website. And today I've got an article, it's a ZDNet article that I wanted to present to you. It's 2 days old, so I'm a little late getting it to you, but it is a breaking news item, I believe. And this comes from, as I said, ZDNet. The article is entitled FBI Warns About Attacks That Bypass Multi-Factor Authentication, or MFA. I use multi-factor authentication for various things, and it's a good thing, but apparently the FBI is warning that it can be attacked and it can be defeated in some cases. So let's take a look at this. This is FBI warns about SIM, and that's the little chip in your phone, SIM swapping, and tools like Murian and Neko browser. This article is by Caitlin Simpanu from Zero Day, and it was dated October the 7th, 2019. So let's get into it. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, has sent last month a security advisory to private industry partners about the rising threat of attacks against organizations and their employees that can bypass multi-factor authentication, or MFA, solutions. The FBI has observed cyber actors circumventing multi-factor authentication through common social engineering and technical attacks, the FBI wrote in Privacy or Private Industry Notification, or PIN, sent out on September 17th. Past incidents of MFA bypasses. While nowadays there are multiple ways of bypassing MFA protections, the FBI alert specifically warned about SIM swapping vulnerabilities in online pages handling MFA operations and the use of transparent proxies like Murian and Neko browser. To get the point across, the FBI listed recent incidents where hackers had used these techniques to bypass MFA and steal money from companies and regular users alike. We cite from the report. In 2016, customers of U.S. banking institutions were targeted by a cyber attacker who ported their phone numbers to a phone he owned, an attack called SIM swapping. The attacker called the phone company's customer service representatives, finding someone who were willing to provide him information to complete the SIM swap. Once the attacker had control over the customer's phone numbers, he called the bank to request a wire transfer from the victim's accounts to another account he owned. The bank, recognizing the phone number as belonging to the customer, did not ask for any, or full security rather, questions that they normally would, but requested a one-time code sent to the phone number from which he was calling. He also requested to change PINs and passwords and was able to attack victims' credit card numbers to a mobile payment application. Over the course of 2018 and 2019, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center and FBI Victim Complaints observed the above attack, SIM swapping, as a common tactic from cyber criminals seeking to circumvent two-factor authentication. Victims of these attacks have had their phone numbers stolen, their bank accounts drained, and their passwords and PINs changed. Many of these attacks rely on socially engineering customer service representatives for major phone companies who give information to the attackers. In 2019, a U.S. banking institution was targeted by a cyber attacker who was able to take advantage of a flaw in the bank's website to circumvent the two-factor authentication implemented to protect accounts. The cyber attacker logged in with stolen victim credentials, and when reaching the secondary page where the customer would normally need to enter a PIN and answer a security question, the attacker entered a manipulated string into the web URL, setting the computer as one recognized on the account. This allowed him to bypass the PIN and security question pages and initiate wire transfers from the victim's accounts. In February of 2019, a cybersecurity expert at the RSA conference in San Francisco demonstrated a large variety of schemes and attacks cyber actors could use to circumvent multi-factor authentication. The security expert presented real-time examples of how cyber actors could use man-in-the-middle attacks and session hijacking to intercept the traffic between a user and a website to conduct these attacks and maintain access for as long as possible. He also demonstrated social engineering attacks, including phishing schemes or fraudulent text messages purporting to be a bank or other service to cause a user to log into a false website or fake website and give up their private information. At the June 2019 Hack in the Box conference in Amsterdam, cybersecurity experts demonstrated a pair of tools, the Murena and Necro browser, which worked in tandem to automate a phishing scheme against users of multi-factor authentication. The Murena tool intercepts traffic between a user and the target website, where they are requested to enter login credentials and a token code as usual. Once authenticated, Necro browser stores the data for the victims of this attack and hijacks the session cookie, allowing cyber actors to log into these private accounts, take them over, and change user passwords and recovery email addresses while maintaining access as long as possible. Is MFA still effective? The FBI made it very clear that its alert should be taken only as a precaution and not an attack on the efficiency of MFA, which the agency still recommends. The FBI still recommends that companies use multi-factor authentication. Instead, the FBI wants users of MFA solutions to be aware that cyber criminals now have ways around such account protection. So it's really not the problem of MFA per se, but social engineering and craftiness on the part of these cyber criminals to gain access to information that they would not have otherwise. Multi-factor authentication continues to be a strong and effective security measure to protect online accounts, as long as users take precautions to ensure they do not fall victim to these attacks, the FBI said. Okay, so guys, this is pretty serious stuff here. Now, if you live in the United States, especially, so you come under the Federal Bureau of Investigation warnings, you should heed them. You should not ignore them. This is one that should not be ignored. If you use MFA, just be cognizant of the fact that cyber attackers now are getting very crafty. Cyber attackers are actually using social engineering techniques and phishing techniques to thwart, the MFA's security, which is very strong in my opinion. The fact that you can log into a website or to some other application, and then it requires you to go off platform to another platform, such as your iPhone or whatever, to authenticate through, a Google Authenticator or a Microsoft Authenticator application on that particular device, an app running on the iPhone, for instance. To me, that's very strong because that individual does not have access to that unless they can gain that access by tricking you into giving it up. And so this is what this article is about. The FBI is warning that attacks to bypass the MFA are out there and that we should heed it. All right, so if you like this article, if you got information from it and it was, informative and was good for you, then please subscribe to me on the channel and hit that bell when you do subscribe so that you'll get notified every time I upload a video. So if this article is useful, also look at hitting that thumbs up on the video itself. That gives me more credibility on the site and brings you more articles like this that I can present to you. All right, so this is Data Pioneer Southeast from the Windows 10 Tech News and Reviews website. Have a nice day.